Welcome to Swim. This is from this wonderful book called Napoleon on the Art of War. I'm going to read you some excerpts, and here we go. This chapter is called Army Organization. It is only progressively that one can form a great army, commented Sir Ian Hamilton in 1921. Certainly no other commander in his day devoted as much thought and attention to organization as Napoleon, who went into painstaking detail to assure that his forces were disciplined, prepared, and ready to take the field. The army, he insisted, marches, works, and has its being by organization and discipline. A great army can be formed only by stages. The organization should progress one step at a time. When a nation has no cadres or principle of military organization, it is very difficult for it to organize an army. If France, in 1790, managed to raise good armies so promptly, it was only because it had a good foundation which the flight of the aristocrats improved rather than made worse. The organization of the armies of Louis XIV was vicious. Had today's organization existed at the Battle of Fontenoy, the maneuvers would not have been piecemeal. And when Turenne declared that an army should not exceed 50,000 men, we must understand that he meant by army. In his day, an army was not organized by divisions. The commander had to direct everything. It was necessary for him to appoint generals to command the various units, and in such a case it is easy to understand why. If he was to see everything in front of him and command by himself, he feared confusion if he had more than 50,000 men. But he did not contend that with 50,000 men he would have the advantage over an army of 200,000 men. He would have said that in this case he would have several armies comparable to our divisions and army corps of today. ¿Sí? ¿Que les vaya bien? ¿Sí? Que les disfruten la película. Armies were weak in Turenne's time, which meant that fortresses had a significant role. There is no position that can stop an army of 200,000 men to 300,000 men, while a skillful general finds good positions everywhere for an army of 20,000 men to 30,000 men, a village or a defile becoming in this case important points. But their importance diminishes by virtue of the strength of armies. An army of 25,000 men opposed to an army of equal size is not in the same proportion as an army of 250,000 men opposed to an army of 200,000 men. I read correctly, 250,000 men opposed to an army of 200,000 men. Armies are in arithmetical, not in geometrical proportion. For example, an army of 25,000 men can detach only 5,000 men, and still it would have great difficulty concealing it from the enemy. Besides, what can 5,000 men accomplish? The smallest fortification, the least opposition, or the slightest obstacle would stop it. But an army of 250,000 men can make a detachment of 50,000 men, which is large enough to subdue a country, and the enemy will have trouble distinguishing whether he has only 200,000 men in his front instead of the 250,000 that were in line before the detachment. Oh, this is very interesting. Very interesting.